everyone. It is Marie here from the Sable Society. If you've joined us here today at the Sable Society, it means you might be a Sable, which has stash acquired beyond life expectancy. And I've been told this past week that I haven't been recording anywhere near enough to the channel. So I'm really sorry about that. And I intend to fix it. And the reason I've been told this is because I have been away with the inaugural Knit August Nights in Bendigo in Victoria. It just concluded on the weekend, well, last week, in fact, and it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I cannot be more thankful to all the people that attended, took a risk for a brand new event and did so just with hearts and minds completely open, and you were amazing. And the staff at the Quality Lakeside Hotel where we held the event were just incredible. Thank you to Lana and Caitlin and the team there. You were utterly amazing. And it was so successful, in fact, that I am right in the middle of planning the second one. We intend to move the Australian event around because it's such a big country. It's so vast there that it just makes sense to actually move it around. So New Zealand will stay fixed in Napier. We'll move Knit Australia Nights around. So South Australia, end of April. The dates I'm playing with at the moment are the 22nd to the 24th. 25th is obviously Anzac Day, but we are looking at Adelaide or the surrounds in South Australia, and there's a market, the Stirling Markets, which has been held on Anzac Day. So I'm hoping to do the event, then the markets the next day, which is, I went to the Stirling Market and I went to was it the Easter Market? It was the March Market anyway. I happened to be there. The market is totally off the hook. It is amazing. So to be able to tie in the event with that, I think will be well worth it. So I'm just playing around trying to find venues and see if I can make all the pieces fit. So make sure that you are on our newsletter, so you can join that through knitaugustnights.co.nz and just scroll down the page and you'll see a sign up there to jump onto the newsletter, and that will keep you informed with everything that's going on. But I thought I would just come and talk to you about the event, about also the Australian Sheep and Wool Show, which Libby, Lisa and I travelled to. So I travelled across to Australia with Libby Johnson from Trilly Myrtle, who was one of our tutors, along with Lisa Craig from the Burnt Hill Yarn Company, and Lisa F Design, who's another of our tutors. Both, again, are teaching at August Nights here next month. We had the best time. We had it was literally middle-aged ladies on tour. Where's my coffee? It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. We were all the same age. We had so much fun. We didn't live at large in Bendigo, so if the nightlife in Bendigo was wondering, well, where were you ladies? We didn't see you. No, every night we were so exhausted. It was literally gym jams, dinner, gym jams, knitting, gossip, bed. We didn't even go out. I booked a cottage which got upgraded to this very amazing renovated apartment, which was crazy. So thank you, Bendigo Signature Accommodation, for doing that. We do appreciate it. You have no idea how much we appreciated it. And it was incredible. And our favourite tourist attraction, which we visited every day, was the Coles supermarket, because when you're a New Zealander and you see the price of food here and you go to a supermarket in Australia where there's no GST on fresh fruit and veg, I mean, honestly, it was middle-aged ladies living large. We were having the best time. It was absolutely hilarious. So that's what we were doing. It was so much fun. So yeah, it was just brilliant. But what we did do is we jam-packed a whole heap of things into the event. So Lisa and Libby, as I said, taught, as well as Catherine Trippett, who taught last year at Knit August Nights. She's coming back again this year. She was the one that gave me the kick in the pants to make Australia happen. She knew Australia needed the event, and she's been here on the channel, and she really did give me a complete sort of, come on, Marie, you need to make this happen. So yes, Catherine helped grease the wheels across the year, and she's been able to give me, she has the knowledge, the local knowledge of the venues, of you guys, you Australians, of what you like, what you don't like. And she has been utterly invaluable with her knowledge. And she bought her incredible travelling show. So she's got the Australian Wool Store. And Catherine is an absolute, Catherine and her team, the slickest operators at doing trade shows. Like the setup is amazing. So she bought a little mini version of that to Cannes, the full size version to the sheep show. It was crazy. Better do that. Well, YouTube will get upset. Sorry, my Stephen B cup. It's chocker. Anywho, what do we do? My coffee's getting cold. Okay, I've been doing some shorts about what I bought, but the first thing I just wanted to share with you is there were a couple of tutors at Bendigo, one of which was Joe Barr. If you've been following any of the sheep show coverage online on Instagram from them, she is the woman, she's a felter, and she was doing a felting masterclass and two shorter classes, one felting a lampshade, another felting a scarf, and then a hat making masterclass. These classes, I was just blown away by these classes. They were actually smaller classes, but everyone that attended were just absolutely enthralled. I was enthralled with what she was doing. I'm just desperate to bring her to New Zealand, which we're working on at the moment for next year, for Cannes 2027. And you need to watch out for that for next year, because she is seriously off the hook crazy good. So do check out my socials. I took so many photos of stuff that went on in that class. But Jo won one of the major prizes at the sheep show. She felted a wedding dress with a top hat, and she was telling me about it, about the entry, and she really wanted to make a top hat. So that's how it started. And then she said, oh, well, what else could I go with the top hat? And then she started thinking about embellishments, and the embellishments turned into a bouquet. And then she thought, oh, blow it, I just may as well make a wedding dress. And that's what she did. 80 hours it took. It is absolutely sublimely beautiful what she has done. So do make sure you check that out. So I'm working super hard to get her here next year, because I think that her classes, they're a little bit more expensive, but they're worth every single penny, and you come away with the most incredible finished items. So do watch out for those. The other person that is a contact of Catherine's that she was able to lure out was Rika Abe from Nona. Now, if you are somebody who does a lot of stitchcraft, sashiko or tamari or any of those Japanese stitch crafts, you will possibly know of Rika. She's, very high profile in that space. She teaches all around the world. Loads of photos. I put loads of photos and socials up around her classes. And she did a tamari ball class. And again, I just didn't appreciate the beauty of what it is that she does, the considered nature of what it is that she does. Her products, she sold some products on the stand. She dyes everything herself, all using natural dyes, nothing synthetic. This is a little sashiko kit that I've got from her. It's just this whole idea of serenity, perfection, but without being too fussy. I really can't describe it. It was just beautiful. And I'm actually going to Japan in October. So with any luck, I'm going to be in Tokyo for a few days. I'll be able to pop by and visit her tiny wee store and just get a feel for what it is that she does. And again, she's someone that I'd love to bring to New Zealand, because I think she will add a different dimension to what it is that we would like to see and do. So that is the fantastic Rika. And she also gave me these really lovely matcha candy, so thank you to her. I also did a bit of shopping while I was away. I'm going to kick off with the Bendigo Woolen Mill. Kai, you're a star. Love you. Kimberly, thank you for everything. Kimberly was very generous and gave us some wonderful stuff for our goodie bag. So thank you so much for that. Kai gave us the best tour around the mill. Usually they don't do mill tours, but we were a tight, compact group, and our relationship between Design Spun and Bendigo meant that they did take us through for a tour, which we're super appreciative of. Didn't expect it, and everyone just loved it. I loved it. I do love me a spinning mill. I do. I have to admit, I was there, and I did. It's been 18 months since I've been gone, and it was nostalgic. I missed it. But I bought some yarn while I was there, and I kind of tended to buy things that I don't normally have easy access to, because I still shop at Skeins. I adore Skeins. I'm a silent partner there. It's still very much near and dear to my heart. And I have to admit, when certain yarns go on sale, the fingers get twitchy, and I'm like everybody else and jumping on board and purchasing the things there that I love. But I also love being able to go to a mill like Bendigo, because I understand their ethos. I know where they come from. They do such a fabulous job. And I love being able to buy things that I don't have readily available here at home with skeins. One of those, funnily enough, is this, which we do have with Whisper Fine with skeins, but this is Lilt, which is their new mohair product. This is a mohair silk, so very much like Rowan Silk Haze, but it's colour, as you can see, very colour. Shocker. Marie bought this colour. Who would have thought it? I've got enough for a garment. I bought this primarily because I have my Sable Society yarn, and I completely forgot to grab the project. I'll do that in the next video. That I know that this will go with a number of the yarns that I have in that range. I'm really loving the whole double stranding with the colour helix that I'm doing at the moment. I've done double stranded colour helix with my Enigma mohair, but it has nothing like this in these richer colours. It's all very soft pastel shades, and they don't do anything richer. I need to talk to them about that, actually. Anywho, I know that this will go with that. And at the moment, the project I'm working on, I'm actually double stranding 2 colour helixes together to get a DK. But I'll show you that in another video. This is something else that I bought. In fact, we went back there a second time. Lisa said, I really want to go back. There are things there that I missed. So we went, and I saw this bad boy, which is a heather. There you go. Is the camera picking that up? Yep. So this is a heathered crepe. Good old-fashioned crepe. You don't hardly see them. Bendigo's one of the few that does it on a regular basis. This is their classic 8-ply, 100% wool. I mean, I got a garment lot of this. It's in sort of, and I love the heathered shades, you know me, and heathered colours. This is very me, and I got a garment lot of this. What it's going to be, I don't know. Haven't worked that out yet, but it will be something. I also got it. The other thing I love is a good old tweed. I really ummed and ahed because I've had beautiful, rich, jewel-toned tweeds. But I ended up going for this guy, which is their natural with all this crazy flecky colour in there. And the reason I did that, because I know those are pretty bright, it's very hundreds and thousands. Funnily enough, somebody, when I went back the second time, which is when I bought that heather, someone was in the store wearing a cardigan made in this. And I'm so glad that I bought it because it looked brilliant knitted up. And I like it because everything on there's a colour on there that it would just go with everything. And I may end up actually double stranding this back with an Enigma just to sort of soften it down because I just love that whole glow. And the Enigma is so fine that I should be able to do that and either knit it up as an Aran weight, or I could even just knit it up as a lush, dense DK. But I've got a garment lot of that. And then the last thing I bought was over in their clearance mill-end crazy section, which I had to restrict my time there because, it's a very evil, dangerous place, this little side room, which all the things, the weird and wonderfuls, the orphans, the ones that required a home. And in there, I actually found it was an import yarn they had. It's called Iridescence. It's cotton, acrylic, and nylon. Before you go, what, Marie? Why? But that's it there. Lovely and soft. I love those ombre tones. Love the little bit of texture there. It's a wrap yarn. This will make an incredible fabric. I am very fond. It's a little bit like the Arthi that we had in Mahana, an alpaca. It's lovely and soft. And again, I may even add, I've got some gorgeous, beautiful brown Enigma mohairs. I may add that back because this is I mean, is in a DK as it is in its current format, but I think if I add back the mohair, it'll again make this beautiful, lush fabric. I'll swatch it all. We'll play around. That's what swatching's for, man. It's to have a play around and make some fabrics. So this was in the clearance section. I can't even tell you how much it was, but it was cheapy cheap because it was there. I hopefully have bought enough for a garment. It may end up being a poncho or a vest or a tunic. I don't know. I'll have to work it out. But that's what I got from Bendigo. And as I said, we did the tour there. If you want to have a look, just check out the socials over on Knit August Nights, Facebook or Instagram. I did post up a little video there of both of those. What else did I get? So then we went to the sheep show. So we only had Friday at the sheep show, the Australian Sheep and Wool Show, and it was an intense day, as I mentioned in a video. I'm going to tell you a funny story. So everybody at Knit Australia Nights and the locals who had done the sheep show before all told us the same thing. They're doing a lot of renovations at the showgrounds at the moment, and the organisers had said, there will be limited car parking. I bought a car park ticket. I had tickets for the three of us. So they said, look, just get there nice and early. So then before the real swarming hordes get in, but also to make sure you get your car parked nice and close. So we set off just before 8 o'clock. I mean, the girls, it was the first time all week that the girls were organised, motivated, and out the freaking door. They were very excited. So we jumped in the car, GPSed ourselves to the Bendigo showgrounds. And, GPSs do funny things. So it got us to the showgrounds just fine. So we pull up and there was this gate there and a man in high vis, and there were other cars going in front of us. So we thought, oh, well, we must be at the right place. And it looked sort of very industrial, so we pull in and a man in high vis goes, yeah, all right, girls, just go in there, turn left and someone else will tell you where to go. Okay. Libby's holding our tickets, waiting to sort of scan. But no, okay, they might scan them in the next place. So we drive through and we're driving past sheep trucks and and utes and things, and we go up and there's another person in high vis and she's like, hello, ladies. She said, go up that ramp up there and there'll be someone up there to direct and park you. And we were like, okay. So up we went, drove up the ramp to the sort of plateau, and there was a very efficient man that pointed us in to park, told us exactly where to park, and we parked. And then he goes off to park the other people coming in behind us, and we sort of were like, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll just walk out of here and go through a gate and we'll get the thing scanned. And then we realised we were already in the showgrounds. So, long story short, we'd come in the exhibitor car park purely by accident, but we had definitely bought 3 tickets and a car park ticket. So, Bendigo, we didn't knock you off, Bendigo, I promise. It was so funny. But the neat thing about that, of course, is that the first 2 pavilions were literally, we parked right above the pavilions. So we came down, and the first person we saw when we walked into the pavilion, literally walked through the door, a few stands in, and there was the fantastic Tom Dennis and his family from Tanduan Court, or Tandi. So we were so it was wonderful. Big hugs, and he knows Libby and I I've taken a tour group there. Libby's taught there, introduced Lisa. It was brilliant. They were just getting the final touches onto their stand, which was amazing. And of course, Tandy did have a lot of in fact, everything that they had there at that stage had been commission processed by Design Spun. So I've had a relationship with Tom and his family now for, since about 2017, 2018. So it's been nigh on a decade. So I couldn't help myself. You may have seen this in a previous video, but I grabbed 2 of these. For those that don't know, the Dennis family, so Tom's ancestors who have been farming that land must be coming close to or more than 150 years, and they were the founders of the Polworth breed, and they still farm Polworth there, and they're still farming there today. And so this is the OG yarn. There it is there, and I couldn't help. I bought this guy. This was one of the newer yarns that we did. Well, when I say we, Design Spun made just before I bailed out. I was aware of it, and this is Polworth with Tussa Silk. It is just this yarn. This blend is probably one of my all-time favourite yarns. I adore it. Polworth on its own is one of my favourite things to knit with. In fact, I prefer Polworth over merino. It's for so many reasons, but yeah, so I couldn't help myself. I grabbed a couple of these because I'm pretty certain it's in stash upstairs. I need to dig it out. I've also got a sample ball of this from when I came back, and if it's the colour that I think it is, it will play with these two very nicely. And I have got enough. I think I should have enough to do a Harding Road cowl and hat combo. And even potentially some nuts if I have enough. So that's the intent with that. And as you can see, very much my colours. But I had to get something from them. Absolutely loved it. And in the next haul over, well, actually, no, I'm going to tell you this first because it was actually quite a funny story. So we're catching up with Tom and having a good old goss and a look at the yarn, and we were going to cycle back round as they were finishing up. And while we were standing there, directly across the aisle from Tom and his team, was this delightful woman from Swish Yarns. And she was standing there, sort of looking very starstruck and bug-eyed. And then she's very quiet, tiny wee lady, and she's holding up these cardigans. Oh gosh, you can tell that this is what I wore when I was spinning yesterday, look, covered in fibre. She was standing there, and she's looking bug-eyed, holding up these cardigans. And anyway, I looked, and then we suddenly clicked, Lisa and I, that they were Libby's designs. Well, she clocked Libby, and she just couldn't believe it, and she was trying to get our attention. So we sort of got Libby, because Libby likes to talk a lot. So, honestly, it was so funny. Lisa, I mean, I was a photographer. I'll tell you about it in a minute. So anyway, we get over. Libby was like, whoa, this is so cool. And she was charming. Her yarns were beautiful. She hand-dyed all these stunning yarns. Her colours were amazing. So she said she was quite happy for us to browse and shop before the official opening. Like, this is 8:30 in the morning. So I got those two bad boys, 4-ply merino. That has got shawl written all over it. As you can see, it's the sort of colours, definitely my colours. These just leapt out and spoke to me. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because they're my colours. So I got those. And the other thing she didn't have a lot of it, but she had a little bit of mohair. And these two, I grabbed these two, the only two she had in these colours. Again, very much in my colours, but these two just said Australia to me, very much the colours of the Australian landscape. Lots of these beautiful, rich, warm sort of ochres and yellows, and it said Australia, I don't know why, because so much of that in that beautiful red earth they have there. And in fact, what is it called? Has she given it a name? No, but I grabbed it. There's 860 metres there because I just know that I've got yarns that I can work with this with. Whether it's a hand dyed or whatever it is, there'll be something, and that there's enough meterage there. But between that and what I have in my Enigma mohair, that I'll be able to do a garment lot with that. So I couldn't help myself grabbing that. So to the lady, if you're watching this from Swish Yarns, it was an absolute delight to meet you, and thank you so much for allowing us to shop early. Then we headed over to the hall next door, and I ran into Nick and Isabel from Great Ocean Road, which I met at Tandy in 2019 when I took the Cannes cruise group there. He drove up from the south coast of Victoria, which is where they were then based. They've now moved into Ballarat, a little bit closer to civilization, with their woolen spun mill. If you know anything about me and woolen spun, you know that I just love woolen spun. So I couldn't help myself. And, so look at these. Isn't this just gorgeous? This one is, this is an alpaca, and it's just delicious. He actually had just some random millions there. million seconds, and I can sort of like, I don't, it's lovely, rustic, delicious, and as you can see, again, very me colour. And the cowl that I held up before this oatmeal here, I bought actually when I met Nick back then, and I knitted it into this actually just this year. This has got, in fact, what has this got? This is the Great Ocean Road. I think that ochre colour there, ochre colour there is was a ball of Perion that I had. And the last chocolate brown is an Arapawa that I had left over from Silver Lining. Do you remember those days? Gosh, that feels like a forever ago that we did for skeins. So that's what I knitted that cowl in. So I've got 3 skeins of this. What this will be, I have absolutely no idea, but I could definitely work this into something. I adore it. And in fact, I may end up using this with handspun yarn. Because it sort of kind of has, this is the beautiful thing. I think this one actually might be a semi-woolen, but woolen spun, but this one, it has that vibe about it, that sort of handspun vibe. And one of the other stores, which was just round the corner from Great Ocean Road, was Ashford's. And I hadn't seen Libby and Nicola for ever. Nicola has come to Cam before. Libby I used to work with and deal with when I was with Skeins and Design Spun. It was so wonderful to see them. It's a hot minute since I caught up with those ladies. They had wheels on display there, so it was wonderful to be able to just sit down. Libby and I had so much fun because she was wanting to play around with a double treadle, so she was playing around with their joy. They had a traddy there. I'm a traddy. I love my traddy, and I jumped on that. I hadn't spun in more than 2 years. It was like riding a bike. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've missed this so much. So literally, Sunday after I got home, that afternoon dug the traddy out. It's been sitting out in my studio where I do the day job, and I dug it out, dusted it off, gave her an oil, restrung it, and going like a dream. So I've already done my first bobbin of a beautiful natural mohair silk, which I think I bought. It was an Ashford fibre that I'd had in deep stash, because all my fibre is deep stash because I haven't spun for so long. And I had it when I did my yarn and fibre cleanup a few months ago. I'd kept the fibre separate and moved it out to the studio because that's where I've got both my wheels were out there stored. So I had all my fibre there. And one of the fibres, and I've just started it today, is actually a natural, which is a more burnt biscuity colour than this. And I'm going to marl what I've already done, which is also in brownie tones, and that together. And it will be a similar weight to this. And I think I might be able to mix that homespun with this to create something. That's the plan. We'll see. We'll see. Take a look at my stories on Instagram. You'll see my progress with the spinning. I popped some of that up yesterday. But it was just so nice to spin. It's just been so long since I've spun anything. So that was from Nick and Isabel from Great Ocean Road. And that is, I think, everything. Have I shown you everything? Yes, I have. So I'm just loving the spinning, really enjoying getting back into that again. And really, the next thing is just our Knit August nights. Classes, I sent out a newsletter. And we're nearly done. We're nearly full. So there's a couple of spaces left in Libby's Spectacular Shawl class. I think there's only a couple. There was one left in the To Die For class, which is with Annette Montgomery, which is the next class on from her Yarn in a Bag, which is sold out. Then there is... double knitting, twice as nice with Sumo Renan. That is a brilliant class. Now, there are 4 or 5 spaces left in that. Now, all those 3 classes I've just mentioned are all in Stream 2. So if you're sitting there and you've got nothing sitting in Stream 2, so if you're already booked, the newsletter will have instructions on how to fill that gap in Stream 2 for you. If you haven't booked, any one of those classes would be amazing. And I still have the Secrets of Smocking class, which is in Stream 1. Now, that class is Jenny Johnson. It's a brand new class. She even makes up like a little kit and shows you all these different techniques. She really does emphasise that you do not need to know how to sew to do this class. It is there, just you can be an absolute beginner on this. So definitely worth doing, definitely worth checking out. If you're somebody who sews or a sewist, or you know someone who sews, particularly if they live here locally, that class you can book without a CAN registration. So if all you want to do is come to that class and then pop back on Sunday morning for the public market, you can do that. So you don't have to book and do the full registration and the full shoot and match for the 3 days or 2 days or however long you're there. You can literally just come to the smocking class and then pop back to the market on Sunday. That's no worries at all. So you've got that bit of flexibility there. So if you know someone who sews or embroiders or would love to learn smocking, you don't have to do a CAN registration. And if you're someone that wants to sell your wares at CAN, I've got a couple of spaces left for full weekend trading. So if you want to do that, I've knocked actually $100 off the price for full weekend trading, and it's worked beautifully. It's encouraged more traders along. I have a very limited number of traders at the event, and I do that because I want everyone to do well. You've got a captive audience essentially there for 2 days, and then it opens up to the public. I advertise it and I get a few thousand through on the Sunday morning for 3 hours, and you can trade to your little heart's content. So if you want to go and do that for the weekend, have a weekend away, do check that out, that trading space. It's a really good opportunity to get sort of on board and, you know, have a great weekend away here in Hawke's Bay. I mean, we're a brilliant winter destination. I should show you out the window. It's sunny and fine and clear and fabulous. But I have rambled on enough, my darlings. I'm going to let you go. I promise I'm going to try and do more content. That's one of the things that I need. I've been so tardy because I spend all my time recording in the day job, and I just get a bit, lazy when it comes to this. I am going to do it. Do make sure you check out all the socials. Knit August Nights. You can see what went on in Bendigo. Do share, like, and subscribe. It does make a difference. Make sure you're on the newsletter list because that makes a difference. But until then, keep an eye out for what we've got coming up. I'm super inspired. Honestly, my feet haven't yet touched the ground. We've had a wonderful time, and thank you for supporting both myself, everyone involved with CAN, Lisa, Libby, Catherine, the fabulous Kathy Vasic, Joe Barr, Rika. Honestly, everyone that attended really did make the event something wonderful. And I'm going to say it again because I've now got it on record several times. Catherine, you were right. So on that note, take care. I'll see you again soon.